terms of your guests, are they all from Kenya? Obviously, I'm looking forward to thank you for having me and as a guest on a future podcast, but share a little bit more about where you look for your guest.
I get my guests from all over. Honestly, I'm just looking for anyone that is connected with food. I'm actually looking to have guests who are just chefs and
Mhm.
foodies, and just I'm looking to have guests from everywhere. I don't like to limit myself. I don't like to limit my audience nor my guests. So, yeah, anyone that has a good story and works with food, I would be happy to have them on the show.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit more. Where can we listen to your show? So share with our listeners where they can find the show, Farm to Table.
So the show is currently on, I think 9 podcast platforms. So
Okay.
all the common ones like Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
Okay.
Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. Yeah, just the common most you find it, I think, in on all common podcast platforms as Farm to Table Podcasts KE.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so what can we look forward to in the podcast or anything that you're working on this for the rest of this year?
Um, Currently, I have quite some interesting guests coming up, as you said, including yourself. So, yeah, and also I am working on a project. So, this 2023 was named as the year of the millet.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's a project that's coming up with an organization that works in genetic diversity conservation
Okay.
on millet. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to having that on the show for the year to celebrate the year of the millet. And yeah, I recently introduced a new segment where I review like documents or books. So yeah, that's also something I'm looking forward to because it gives me a chance to really read a lot about what's going on and stay in touch with the industry that I love so much. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And so my final question, if there's one guest that you could
Mhm.
have on your show that you
Mhm.
have not had on the show yet, who would
Mhm.
that be? Is there one person
Let me see. One person.
who has inspired your work? You see what he or she is doing?
So it would probably be people from an organization such as the International Fund for Agricultural Development,
Okay.
called AFAD.
Okay.
Actually, they have a podcast called Farms Food Future, and when I listened to their show, I think that's when I got the inspiration to even start my show. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, I would love to maybe be on their show or even just collaborate on some of the work they do because they do really wonderful work.
Awesome, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for joining me today. This has been great, just getting to know a little bit about what you're doing. And I know
Mhm.
it's just the beginning of it because this is such an important topic, whether it's agriculture as well as climate change. And so want to continue to
Mhm.
follow you and the work that you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Sheree. I
Absolutely.
enjoyed the conversation, despite the technical challenges.
To be expected. It's just technology. Tell our listeners where can they find you? Where can they connect with you further?
So you can find me on all social media. So is this for me personally or just for the show as well?
You tell us where you want listeners to connect with you. They can connect with you personally or for the show. So you just lay it all out online.
Okay. So for the show, I have an Instagram page that's Farm to Table Podcast KE, and also on Twitter, you can also find me as Farm to Table Podcast KE. Personally, I also have a Twitter, which is my Twitter name is Wambui M.
Okay.
Yeah, so Wambui underscore M, and also on Facebook. Not Facebook. Instagram also Wambui M.
Okay, awesome. Well,
Yes.
we will send everybody there. We'll also include that information in the show notes and make
Yep.
sure that people know where to once again connect with the podcast and then connect with you. So, again, thank you, Wambui, for being here. And
Mhm.
I'm Cherie Williams. Thank you for listening to this another episode of Diaspora Food Stories. And until our next episode, be well.